it's Destiny, and today we are going to be going over Cyrene's full kit, builds, teams, and her overall value. Before we get into today's video, I would love to know if you are personally pulling for Cyrene or if you're potentially skipping her for someone else and for who. Lastly, if you enjoy videos like these, consider subscribing to see more content from me, leave a like to support today's video, and now let's get straight into it. Let's begin with Cyrene's kit. Cyrene is an Ice Remembrance character who provides unique buffs to each of the Chrysos Heirs. She has a unique ultimate featuring a point mechanic and has some team-wide buffs as well. Cyrene's ultimate mechanic is referred to as Recollection, which she is able to get points of recollection through her own abilities as well as ally and ally memo spray action. Starting off with Cyrene's basic attack, she'll gain 1 point of recollection and deal damage based on 50% of her max HP onto a single enemy. As for her skill, she'll gain 3 points of recollection and deploy a zone that will last for 2 of Cyrene's turn. And while Cyrene's zone is active, you'll be able to take advantage of a 24% true damage buff as well. Cyrene's skill will be the primary way you'll achieve more recollection through her actions until you use her ultimate. Cyrene's ultimate will require 24 recollection initially. Her initial ultimate will grant each ally their ultimate back, and this also applies to special ultimates such as Castorice, Phainon, and so on. This will also allow Cyrene to apply her special buff to an ally, plus since Cyrene gave back each character on the team their ultimate again, you can technically use Cyrene's ultimate twice in a row to grant the special buff to an ally. And as for each ultimate after the initial one, it'll only cost 12 recollection instead. This will allow you to quickly use Cyrene's ultimate now to reapply the unique buffs onto an ally or even attack enemies, as you can attack with Cyrene's ultimate as well. The unique buffs that Cyrene provides with her ultimate would be for the Chrysos Heirs, which would consist of Tribi, Ceridra, Ebernite, Dan Heng, Hyacine, Phainon, Anaxa, Aglaea, Mighty, Castorice, Cypher, Remembrance Trailblazer, and of course Cyrene herself. This unique buff for each Chrysos Heir provides different benefits depending on which heir you use the buff on. And some of the buffs last for the entire battle, while others have a one-time effect that would have to be reapplied to use again, which you can reapply buffs or even apply the special effects to other heirs as well when you use Cyrene's ultimate again, which now only requires 12 points of recollection instead of 24 as mentioned, and this will make it easier to use her ultimate after the first time. As for additional noteworthy aspects of her ultimate, Cyrene and her memo sprite's crit rate will increase by 50% permanently. Her zone from her skill that grants the team the ability to take advantage of true damage will last permanently as well, and her basic attack will now be enhanced. This will lock out her skill, and on her turn you can only use her enhanced basic attack now, rather than her skill or basic attack. Her enhanced basic attack will deal damage onto one designated enemy based on 30% of her max HP, and then 30% of her max HP onto all enemies. It's also worth noting that this enhanced basic attack will not regain any skill points. As for her talent states that upon entering combat or after Cyrene takes action, other ally characters under any state in their memo sprites will gain future. When allies with future take action, they consume the future status to give Cyrene 1 point of recollection. Her talent will also provide a 20% damage boost to allies while Cyrene is on the field. One of Cyrene's traces though will allow certain characters to be able to assist with getting more points of recollection for Cyrene, which one of her traces states that when a teammate's memo sprite is summoned, it gains the future status, and future held by memo sprites cannot be consumed. This essentially means that every single memo sprite action, excluding joint attacks, will grant 1 point of recollection for Cyrene, which is definitely one of the reasons why Hyacine is a very powerful character to have on a Cyrene team, as Little Eco will be able to nicely assist with getting more and more points of recollection. Cyrene's traces states that when there are 1, 2, 3 Chrysos Heirs or Remembrance characters aside from Cyrene in the team, Cyrene will gain 2, 3, or 6 recollection points at the start of combat. So essentially, if you have 1 Chrysos Heir Remembrance character, you will gain 2 points of recollection at the start of combat. If you have 2, you'll gain 3 points of recollection, and if you have 3, then you will gain 6 points of recollection, which this will nicely assist with being able to get Cyrene's ultimate within the 0 cycle. As for Cyrene's last trace, when her speed is 180 or higher, all allies' damage dealt will increase by 20%. For each point of speed that also exceeds 180, Cyrene and her Memo Sprite will gain 2% Ice Res Pen, up to a maximum of 120% as 60 points of overcap. This will be useful for further increasing Cyrene's damage potential. Now, as for details regarding Cyrene's Memo Sprite, when it is summoned, it will have 0 speed, but will not appear on the action order and is considered out of bounds, which this means that it cannot be actively targeted by anyone. It also will have a max HP equal to 100% of Cyrene's max HP, and any change in Cyrene's HP will also be reflected in the Memo Sprite's HP. Additionally, if you have Cyrene's Memo Sprite on the field, it'll increase both of their max HP as well. So Cyrene's Memo Sprite does operate a bit differently in comparison to the other Memo Sprites we have seen. Now, as for Cyrene's mini traces, these are all very useful for her. She'll be able to gain 9 speed, she'll be able to get 37.3% crit damage, and lastly 10% additional HP. As for Cyrene's technique, she will create a special dimension that lasts around her. Her movement speed will increase, and after entering combat, she'll deploy the zone from her skill. Now that we've gone over Cyrene's kit, let's go over what she provides for each Chrysos Heir individually. Let's begin with Aglaea. Aglaea will receive a one-time effect, which will allow her to gain Romantic, and it'll immediately stack the Garment Maker's Memo Sprite talent speed boost effect to the max, which essentially means that you'll be able to get 6 out of 6 stacks. And after Aglaea or the Garment Maker uses an attack, you will consume Romantic and regenerate 70 energy. You'll also be able to increase the damage dealt by Aglaea and Garment Maker by 72% and ignore 36% of the target's defense, lasting until Aglaea exits the Supreme Stance state. The additional energy that Aglaea can gain from consuming Romantic can be nicely used to extend Supreme Stance by refreshing her ultimate before it ends. Also, of course, increasing the damage dealt by Aglaea and the Garment Maker and being able to ignore the target's defense will also be useful for further improving Aglaea's damage potential. Now for Anaxa. Anaxa will also have a one-time effect, and when this is used on Anaxa, 1 skill point will be recovered, and Anaxa will be able to take action immediately. The number of skill damage instances will also increase by 3 for 1 turn, and the next time Anaxa uses a basic attack or skill, he'll gain True Knowledge, which will increase the attack of all Ear Edition characters by 60% and skill damage dealt by 40% until the start of Anaxa's next turn. This buff right here can actually pair alongside Ceridra's buff as well. As for the effect she gives Castorice, it'll be effective for the entire battle, and when used on Castorice, New Blood can now overflow to 200%. When summoning Netherwing, you will consume all the overflowed New Blood, and this will increase the damage multiplier of the damage dealt for every 1% of the overflow value consumed when Netherwing triggers the ability Wing Sweep the Ruins. If there are 2 enemy targets on the field or fewer when summoned, the damage multiplier will additionally increase. This buff right here is very useful for not overcapping on New Blood, and if you were to go above 100% New Blood, you will be able to benefit from that additional damage multiplier. As for Cyridra, she'll gain a buff that will be effective for the entire battle, and after using the buff on Cyridra, it'll increase the crit damage of the ally with military merit by 30%, which essentially means the character that has Cyridra's buff will have their crit damage increased by 30%, and after Coup de Main ends, Cyridra will immediately gain 1 point of charge. As for Cypher, her buff will also be effective for the entire battle, and when this is used on Cypher, it'll increase the damage dealt by Cypher by 36% and decrease the defense of the patron by 20% and the defense of enemy targets other than the patron by 12%. So enemies will have their defenses additionally reduced, which will result in the team being able to take advantage of this in order to deal more damage onto enemies. As for the buff for Don Hung, the bondmate will be able to deal 24% more damage, and you'll also be able to additionally advance Soul Dragon's action by 100%, and the next Soul Dragon action gains the enhanced effects of Don Hung's ultimate and shield effect provided by Soul Dragon is 150% of the original shield value. This will also not consume the enhancement charge of Don Hung's ultimate. As for Hyacine, she'll gain 2 stacks. When this is also used on Hyacine, she'll be able to regenerate 24 energy, and when Hyacine uses one of these stacks and is providing healing, she'll additionally increase the healing value for Little Eco's Memo Sprite skill by an amount equal to 72% of the healing value this time. And after Hyacine uses her skill or ultimate, she will consume 1 stack. This buff will result in extra healing, more damage for Little Ika, and then also being able to gain even more New Blood for Castorice. The energy from this buff will be useful for getting closer to using Hyacine's ultimate as well. Now for Hyacines, it is also a one-time effect, and when used on Hyacine, she'll gain Flowing Warmth. After she's an attack, she'll consume Flowing Warmth and regenerate 60 energy, which now results in her being able to use her ultimate more frequently. And in the battle, the damage dealt by Hyacines will increase by 60%. And after Hyacines uses a basic attack or skill to attack enemies, the damage over time currently applied on attacked enemies will immediately produce damage equal to 60%/80% of the original damage. This essentially means that Hyacine's basic attack and skill will now be able to detonate damage over time as well. Now we have the buff for Evernight, which will be effective for the entire battle, and after it is used on Evernight, the damage dealt by Eevee's Memo Spray skill, Dream Dissolving is Due, will increase by 18%. And after Evernight uses skill or ultimate, you'll additionally gain 1 Memoria. The crit damage boost provided by this skill is also further increased by an amount equal to 12% of Evernight's crit damage. And now we have Mighty. Mighty's buff will be a one-time effect. It'll remove all crowd control debuffs inflicted onto him. And if Mighty is in the Vendetta state, he automatically uses 1 instance of Godslayer Be God without consuming charge. Mighty's crit damage will also increase by 200% during this attack, and if the target is defeated before the use, then it will target the newly arriving enemies instead. If Mighty is not in the Vendetta state, his action will be advanced by 100%. This buff is very useful for Mighty to be able to unleash more instances of Godslayer Be God, and results in Mighty's damage output nicely increasing as a result. Now we have Phainon. This buff will be effective for the entire battle, and after it is used on Phainon, he will gain 6 Core Flame as well as Internal Ignition when transforming. When transforming, if Core Flame exceeds 12 for each point in excess, his crit damage will increase by 12% up to 72%. While Internal Ignition persists, his crit rate will also increase by 16%, which this could be useful depending on how your build is looking for being able to get 100% within battle. And after the extra turns are depleted, the transformation does not end, but instead, you'll have all of the extra turns refreshed, and you'll also gain 4 points of Scourge, which now allows you to immediately use his enhanced meteor attack once again. And at the start of his extra turns, he will consume an amount of HP equal to 15% of his current HP, and after using an attack, you'll deal 5 instances of additional damage, with each instance dealing fire damage equal to 10% of his attack to 1 random enemy. As for Remembrance Trailblazer, you'll also have a buff that is effective for the entire battle, which your attack and crit rate will increase, and this effect will also apply to Mem. And then after using your enhanced basic attack, Cyrene will immediately gain 1 extra turn and automatically use Blooms and Plumes. And if the target was defeated before the ability is used, it will be used on the newly appeared enemies instead. Now we have Tribby, which this will also be effective for the entire battle. The damage dealt by Tribby will be able to ignore 12% of the enemy's defense. When Tribby launches a follow-up attack and triggers the additional damage from Tribby's zone, it further deals 1 instance of additional damage. And now we also have Cyrene. Your first ultimate will give 2 stacks, and from that point, the ultimate will give 1 stack. Which, when you are at 3 stacks, all the stacks are used up, you'll launch a big attack onto enemies. Lastly, if an ally is not a Chrysos Heir, the ally's damage dealt will increase by 40% for 2 turns. This effect also applies on Memo Spray. Now that we've gone over each of the effects, let's go over Cyrene's team. As mentioned, Cyrene is able to provide a unique buff to each of the Chrysos Heirs and will also benefit from being alongside the Chrysos Heirs, as this will allow her to start with more points of recollection, depending on how many Chrysos Heirs are on the team. Being able to effectively gain points of recollection for Cyrene will be essential for taking advantage of her ultimate's benefits. For your sustain option, you'll be looking at Hyacine or Dan Heng, as they are both Chrysos Heirs. Starting with Castorice and Cyrene, you could take advantage of a full Remembrance team using Castorice, Evernight or Remembrance Trailblazer, Cyrene herself, and Hyacine. You can also consider using Tribby in the slot of Evernight as well. This team is able to dish out a bunch of damage onto enemies from each team member and can clear endgame content excellently. As for Evernight, similar team here as well, but if you'd like, you can go for Hypercarry Evernight if you don't have Castorice, which would consist of Evernight, Remembrance Trailblazer, Tribby or Cypher, Cyrene, and then Hyacine. As for Mighty, you can use Mighty, Cyrene, Hyacine, and as for your other amplifier, you can use Tribi, Sunday, Cypher, or Saridra. Cyrene's buff for Mighty is a great benefit for Mighty teams and his damage output, especially with how frequently he can unleash instances of Godslayer be God. As for Phainon, you can use Cyrene, and then Saridra or Remembrance Trailblazer as a budget-friendly option, and Dan Heng or Remembrance Trailblazer if sustainless. As for Aglaea, you can use Cyrene in the slot of Sunday, especially if you like to put Sunday on your other team. For Aglaea teams though, you can go with Aglaea, Cyrene, Remembrance Trailblazer, Sunday or Tribi, and Hyacine or Dan Heng. As for Hyacines, I would recommend Hyacines, Kafka, Cyrene, and Dan Heng or Hyacine. For Anaxa, I would recommend Anaxa, Cyrene, and then Saridra, Remembrance Trailblazer or Sunday, and lastly Hyacine or Dan Heng. You can also go with Anaxa, the Herda, Cyrene, and then Hyacine or Dan Heng as an option. I personally prefer Hypercarry Anaxa with Cyrene though. For attack scaling Chrysos Heirs, Dan Heng can work as a nice option if you don't have Hyacine. I will say though, Hyacine is very useful on Cyrene teams as she will be able to nicely assist with getting more points of recollection due to her memo sprite not consuming future, in this case Little Ika. Little Ika is going to be able to continuously assist with getting more and more points of recollection, which results in you being able to charge Cyrene's ultimate quickly. Another thing to mention though is that throughout my tests, a nice way to get more stacks early on for Cyrene can be by using the first action advance with Mem support on Cyrene, so that she can get more recollection in order to use her ultimate sooner, and this can help with getting her ultimate within the 0 cycle. For teams that have frequent attacks, specifically frequent memo sprite attacks, these teams can quickly get recollection for Cyrene. I was able to get enough recollection within the 0 cycle though, Phainon, Anaxa, and so on, which my showcases on my channel feature each DPS Chrysos Heirs. If you would like, you can also check those videos out after this video. As for Cyrene's build, for her relics, you'll want 4-piece World of Deliverer set or 2-piece speed sets. Cyrene heavily values speed. As for her planars, you can go with a new upcoming planar set releasing in version 3.7, or you can go with Von Weck, Lushaka, Bone Collection, and so on. As for her main stats, you'll want to go with HP or crit body piece, speed boots, HP or ice orb, and lastly HP rope. As for substats, you'll focus on speed, crit, and HP. I would recommend aiming for 180 speed or higher. For Cyrene's Lycone options, you can use her signature, Hyacine's signature Lycone, Memory Curtain Never Falls, or Victory in a Blink. Now when it comes to her value, for accounts that have numerous Chrysos Heirs, then Cyrene could be worthwhile to pick up. For example, if you have a Castorice team, then Cyrene can be a nice addition and can also allow you to put a character like Tribi on your other teams. Sunday can also be put on another team in the scenario of using Cyrene in the slot of Sunday. Now, for those that do not have many Chrysos Heirs, or for those that are saving for 4.0 and beyond, this is a scenario where skipping can end up being a better option, especially if you don't have many Chrysos Heirs. Cyrene is most favorable on a team with Chrysos Heirs, and if you haven't pulled many of them and don't intend to, then I would recommend just waiting for 4.0 and beyond. Also, for those that were curious between pulling Hyacine first or Cyrene first, I have answered this in previous videos. However, my opinion is still pretty much the same on this, where I would recommend first pulling Hyacine, as she is an excellent sustain on numerous teams, and she is also a very nice option on Cyrene teams as well. So I would say the priority would be Hyacine if you were to pick between the two. Now, for those that are potentially considering her Eidolons or her signature, for her E1, this will nicely boost her personal damage and offer additional ultimate charge. As for her E2, when she enters combat, she'll additionally gain 12 recollection points, which will nicely assist with getting Cyrene's ultimate faster within a battle. And for each different ally character that gains the Memo Sprite skill buff from her Memo Sprite, the damage multiplier of the true damage dealt by allies from her skill zone can also increase with E2 as well. This can result in you doubling her true damage buff up to 48%, and this Eidolon overall is very powerful for Cyrene. As for her signature, it'll increase her speed, and it'll also result in allies' crit damage increasing by 25.6% and enemies' damage taken by 16% after using her initial ultimate charges. I would say for those that are looking at her Eidolons or her signature, then I would lean more towards looking at her Eidolons, especially, for example, her E2, but I've done a lot of testing with just E0, S0, and I do think she performs just fine even at that investment level for your Chrysos Heirs team. But if you would like to further improve your Cyrene, then I would lean more toward going for the Eidolon, specifically her E2. And that'll be it for today's video. I hope you all did enjoy, and if you did, do make sure to subscribe, leave a like to support today's video, and lastly, let me know if you are excited for Cyrene, if you'll be pulling her. She has quite a lot to her kit when it comes to all the buffs she can give each Chrysos heir. And yeah, if you are pulling, best of luck to your pulls. If you are skipping, then best of luck to the character you are going for instead. I hope you all have a good one. Bye bye.